I never actually made physical stuff before, before SpaceX. So let alone rockets.
So you started with a rocket.
Yeah, I mean that's a hard one. I'm trying to allocate my efforts to that which I think would most affect the future of humanity in a positive way. And I think there's lots of entrepreneurial energy and financing headed towards the internet. Whereas in certain sectors like automotive and solar and space, you don't see new entrants. There's not a lot of capital going to startups and not a lot of entrepreneurs going into those arenas. And the problem is that in the absence of some new entrants into an industry, you don't have that force for innovation. It's really new entrants that drive innovation more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the case of SpaceX, I just kept wondering why we were not making progress towards sending people to Mars, why we didn't have a base on the moon. Where are the sort of space hotels that were promised in 2001 in the movie? It's like, it just wasn't happening year after year. It was getting me down. I look at the NASA website, I was like, where does it say when we're going to Mars? It doesn't. So initially for SpaceX, for example, I thought, well, the genesis of SpaceX was not to create a company, but really how do we get NASA's budget to be bigger? That was initially the goal. So I came up with this little small philanthropic mission, which would be to send a small greenhouse to the surface of Mars. It's called Mars Oasis. And there would, upon landing, the seeds would be in dehydrated nutrient gel, hydrated upon landing, and you'd have this little greenhouse, and then the money shot would be, green plants against a red background. So recently learned that money shot has a meaning that that I wasn't aware of, but I think that would get people excited about. It rekindles the spirit of Apollo, essentially. I started reading a lot of books on rockets and did sort of a first principles analysis of a rocket, just broke down the materials that are in a rocket, what would it cost to buy those materials, what versus the price of the rocket, and there's a gigantic difference between the raw material cost of the rocket and the finished cost of the rocket. So there must be something wrong happening in going from the constituent atoms to the final shape.
It's become more and more expensive to do less and less in space. Mm-hmm. And we really need to improve the technology of space transportation. So that's why I started SpaceX.